Oh no. Right when we go live. Look at everybody. Are we on there? Are we on there? I don't see it. I bet. Huh. Yeah. Got your footballs on. Okay. Solid guest appearance. I'll come bring her. Everyone say hey. To Palmer Kate. She's sleepy. But this is why we didn't have an episode last week. Say something to the people, Palmy. Dogs by 90. You said that? I'm so proud of you. So proud of you. Bye, girlie. Oh, yeah. Well, there you have it. Go, ducky. Man, what a start to this fine Cashin with Cam. Everyone shouts out Palmy in the chat. I'm already getting hated on for using my daughter for views. It is what it is. I'll take that. Is this hat like giving me a shadow, Sam? All right, no one look at my hair. No one look at my hair. No one look at my hair. All right, here we are. Well, that was a special guest appearance for anyone that's following on Instagram. She got me. She got me right there with her little talon the other day. Does that look like it's bleeding to you? It's tough. We're back in the stew. Me and Sam are back. Despite the debauchery that happened last time where Sam forgot his charger. And we went blackout mode on everybody. We are back. We are back despite Sam almost fumbling the bag last time. Cashin with Cam. College football week 3, NFL week 2. Before we get started, just want to shout out all the Cashin family. Put out a little post last week on Thursday night and gave you guys like an hour to get 100 likes on a post. And you guys shared it to a bunch of people. We got a bunch of likes on it, so I really do appreciate it. It was never gonna happen. I set the bar to a point where I knew we weren't gonna get it. But you guys tried, and I'm thankful for you guys. I truly am. What else happened? We had our daughter Palmer. She's doing great for those interested. She is 7 pounds, 13 ounces of pure just grit and determination. I changed her diaper moments before this started, and she makes sure I change her often. So she's killing it. Kimmy's doing really well. So again, thanks so much everyone for the thoughts and prayers over the last week. We were in the hospital from Wednesday night to Saturday afternoon. So my back is in shambles. I don't know what they make the furniture out of in hospitals, but I would venture to say it's plywood and paper mache because I didn't get one good night's sleep in the hospital. Granted, I was pretty nervous, I'll admit, but we got it done, and we're here now doing Cashin with Cam. So I did not get to another point on the hospital. The TV situation was at an all-time low in the hospital. Anyone that works at the hospital, I guess if you're not in labor delivery, you won't have an answer. But why is the labor and delivery room so much better than the room after you have the baby? There's no volume on the TV. There's no way to watch football in that room. Granted, there wasn't a lot of opportunity to watch football on that particular day. So last week, I was kind of blind to what was going on. I watched a little bit of Alabama and Texas. Tough looks, right? Tough looks for the Tide. Watched State beat Arizona. Not very convincingly, but they did beat Arizona. So I got to watch a little bit. Hey, if you're in this, let's light up the chat, boys. Hit me with a what kind of emoji could we go for here? Hit me with that that throw up emoji. Just let me know what's up with the throw up emoji. Sound off with the throw up emoji in the chat. That's what I want to see. We're losing viewership as we roll through. All good. Hey, thanks for being here. All right, like, comment, subscribe, share. We got to have people in here to make this show what I want it to be. John, we will never be doing the Greyhound racing because I do not have Bovada. So, um, oh yeah, now we're getting the throw ups in here. Let's go. Turn up. Yeah, all right. The boys are here. The boys are active. The boys are active. Where'd my outline go, Samuel? It's right here. Yeah, we almost got to 100 likes on that post, so I almost did the live pod from the delivery room. She was not in labor at the time. For those that were like, "This guy's a sicko," it wasn't like a thing where you would have heard just and like contractions. There weren't contractions happening anywhere, so it wasn't gonna be like that. But we got close. I think we got to like 50 likes, so it was borderline there for a second. People were sharing. I had like people's parents following me and stuff, so I'm sure that's gonna go a long way in building this show up. I'm sure they're watching right now. So another thing I want to bring up. I know a lot of people are saying they would like it to be at a different date and time, and I can make that happen. I did this so we could like roll into the Thursday night football game, but if we need to do it on Wednesday, Tuesday, any other day of the week, we can look at that. If you want it to be on, I might put a poll up on Instagram to see. But if you think it should be on Wednesdays, then rip a Wednesday in the chat. Rip a Wednesday in the chat. We're about an hour out from Thursday night football. Eagles and Vikings prime Kirk Cousins. I do have the Eagles. What are they at? -6.5. I got the Eagles -6.5 versus primetime Kirk. I also have Memphis going tonight at -13.5 at home. So I think Navy sucks. That's who Memphis is playing at home. Watch them against Notre Dame. Don't judge me. Oh God, dribble a little bit. Been hanging out with a baby too much. Navy stinks, and Memphis at home on ESPN. I just see them getting it done, although they are not doing well right now. It doesn't seem like so. Also, whenever I post my pics on Instagram or whatever, I'm using the Action app. No, I am not sponsored by the Action app. I will get into one of my fine sponsors later on in the show, but I'm not currently sponsored by the Action app. If one of you would like to throw your boy a bone, maybe you reach out to him. Maybe we send him emails, some strongly worded emails. Who knows? Again, like, comment, subscribe. We're gonna get the call lines open here shortly. Is there anyone I haven't sent a link to that might be interested? Let's see. I think I sent it to most everybody that cares. But you never know. You never know. Share with your friends. Get them in here. I'm going to open up the call lines. You might hear Boudreaux call back in this week. You never know. That guy's a nut. We do have the computer charging this time, so I don't think we're going to go out of power like last time. So we're not going to have to be concerned with that this go around, fortunately. So if you do share it and get people in here, I promise we won't crash like last time. So anybody got some picks starting out the show here? I'd like to see someone's lock come across my screen. I'm going to wait till someone sends me a lock. I'm fine with silence. Yeah, Sam, throw up the win percentage. It's been a tough few weeks. Tough first 3 weeks. I did bet on week 0. I believe I went 4-3. I also, I think I went like 8-7 week 1 college football, and then last week I was right at the break even point. So I'm at 53% right now, which is not the worst. Okay. We're not necessarily making, we're not cashing. I mean, we're not cashing, but we're not cashing. Um, we're not losing, we're not winning. We're just playing where we can right now. But as the season goes on, we're gonna have some more info. We're gonna have some more analytics and that sort of thing to get us down the road with some winners. I think this week I'm seeing the board clear as day. I think I'm seeing the board as clear as I have all season, maybe all of last season combined. Uh, and as I say that, um, I got a score going to be 44-6. Comment, yep, I could see that, depending on what game we're talking about. Um, Memphis got the ball back. So my lock of Memphis tonight is doing okay so far. Sam, let's just roll into what we got this week. Gonna do some topics. Think this might be interesting. Might get some people tuned in with some calls maybe. McCurley, the spreads are interesting. Yeah, there's not a lot of great games this week. This slate kind of sucks, but there's some value out there as the lines are a little smaller this week than they have been the past couple. As Sam has just opened up the phone lines, so give us a call when you can. Um, as my light goes out, sweet. Just pull that little thing, Sam. Elijah, I agree. Not a lot of huge matchups. A little disrespectful to Mississippi State LSU, I must say, as a state fan myself. But I can respect that take for sure. We have also got Florida, Tennessee. Obviously, Florida not the name that they've been in years past. The light is not Sam's fault. I'll clear the air on that for those wondering why we keep having issues over here. We're gonna get it figured out one week, and we're gonna see the show of a lifetime. But we see it here. We got Coach Prime. Who believes in Coach Prime? Where's my glasses? You got a call? Yeah, no, not the blue light. I had some other ones that look like Coach Prime glasses, and they were sick, but they're gone. So no biggie. I might open up if they win. Who do they have left on their schedule? Who do they have left? Let's see. Colorado football schedule. Well, I agree completely, Elijah. I agree completely. Okay, if they beat Oregon, we'll do a full-on Coach Prime intro, cold open, and we'll let that ride one week. That'd be fun. Who believes in Coach Prime? Aham says, "Who doesn't? Who doesn't believe in Coach Prime?" That is a good question, because at this point, the boys are buzzing. Stormed the field after beating Nebraska. Played really, really well. First week against TCU, the national runner-up last season. TCU lost like 30-something players, and they lost like 8 guys to the NFL. So they're not as loaded as they were last year. Jacob, yeah, the line is weird on that game. It's like 23.5, and a lot of people are thinking that Vegas is like trying to catch up to Colorado this week, but 23.5 still doesn't seem high enough for Prime tonight to not pull it off, in my opinion. I'm going to stay away this week. I've had him the last 2 weeks, but this week I could see like a backdoor cover situation. I don't think Prime cares about. I don't know. He might care about the spread, being a Barstool guy. Yeah, they are close. Yeah, I mean, if you're feeling like you want to sprinkle a little Colorado, I would definitely would. I don't have it on my board, but I could definitely see Colorado blowing them out after their coach said that thing about the glasses and the hat today. I don't, and his son was like, I don't get why people keep doing this. Like, we don't need extra motivation, and they're just giving them so much bulletin board material. But hey, the more the merrier if we're going to keep riding Coach Prime and the Buffs. The offense looks good. The defense is going to take some work, as most people imagined. Hunter is a dog, and it is personal now. That's right, Jacob. As long as it's personal, Prime's going to keep winning, from what I can tell. Um, Rolling to the next one, Sam. But yeah, I like Colorado, and I think we're going to ride them a lot this season. I wonder if that Oregon game is at home. It's on the road. So if he beats Oregon and the Fighting Bo Nix is at home at Oregon at Austin Stadium, then really, I mean, that's cementing the fact that they are a legit team. Their offensive line isn't the best, and yeah, Dean, tough looks for Nebraska. Honestly, tough looks. Um, but at the end of the day, Nebraska's got a lot of work to do. Their quarterback sucks. Defensively, they look pretty good. They looked good against Minnesota. I don't know how they lost that game against Minnesota. That was bad, mostly because of their quarterback. But Nebraska does not look as good as I was hoping they would, and Matt Rule kind of looks like a clown after Prime called him out after the game for talking about him. So overall an L for Matt Rule. He's 0-2, so that's a tough look for them. But I could see them covering some games later on in the season because they're going to start getting hated on. Like I'll probably have them against like Rutgers, definitely Northwestern, probably Indiana. I think depending on the spreads on those games, I think Nebraska is going to get super disrespected against those teams, and you might be able to get in on those games later on in the year. Um, Now we see this one. What's everyone's thoughts on these two? These two legends of the game, Dabo and Saban. I'm a known Dabo hater myself. He cost me so much. Week 1 against Duke, I had him, so I was top of my work pool, office pool for picks. I was tied with this guy, and Lewis Lampton. I'll give him his props. He beat me fair and square. He had Duke. I had Clemson, and Clemson, you know, they tinkled down their leg a little bit. They were not ready for that game, and they got destroyed. Um, Alex says Bama is fine. I lean that way, but who? So, and I've had this take for a while, and people never really get on the same page as me on it. But I really think that Dabo wants the Bama job. He played there. He has the whole story where he lived in a trailer or whatever and got on the team and played receiver. And, he's a Bama guy through and through. I think they just have been, even though he's beaten Saban a couple times in big games, I think it's a constant thing of like, when is Dabo going to get this job? When is Saban going to retire? I could see the script writers just kind of like edging Saban out. Each year we lose a little more faith in Saban, it seems like. And each year we're kind of like, does Dabo really have it at Clemson? Obviously, if he keeps doing poorly at Clemson, Bama fans aren't going to want him. So that's interesting to me. Obviously, it's a little bit of a conspiracy theory, but I've always thought that Dabo was in line for the Bama job, and to me, it just seems to be making a little more sense each year as Saban kind of. I mean, they're still really good. They're going to beat State by a million points probably, but I could see that Dabo, you know, would get the Bama job. Yeah, Elijah, that is a good point. I mean, Dabo is so hard headed about the portal. When he doesn't have to be, I feel like you could get Tyler, known Bama fan. Tyler says obviously we would never want Dabo. Um, Prime will never coach at Bama. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, solid takes for sure. But that's just what I've always thought. I've always thought Dabo was going to Bama to replace Saban at the end of his career, and now it just seems to be making more and more sense. But if Dabo can't learn how to get transfers in, if he can't learn how to like turn the offense over, somebody knows what they're doing, it's never going to work for him going into Bama. I mean, Bama fans are some of the highest expectations in football for a reason. You know, they've won a lot, so uh, I can't see it happening now. Honestly, the more we see Dabo just fumble around, but I guess the question now is how long will Saban still be the guy that you know you fear Saban now, but when does that start to end? I guess is where I'm at. So you can go ahead and change it, Sam. I don't know what else we going into games. All right. So as we've discussed, the college slate this week is not fantastic. It's still football, and Deion trying to get that FSU job in the future. I can see that, but that coach at FSU is pretty good. Um, Phone lines are open, by the way. Somebody call in. Somebody call in. Somebody call in. Cashin with Cam 769-241-0777. Memphis scored at 7-0. So I hope you're riding with me there. Peyton, we lock in Ole Miss minus 18 and over 64. Um so yeah, the over was pretty enticing for me. 18, I don't like that number. Um, I thought I saw it at 17, um, but I'm not sure. Is it 18, Peyton? I know you're the Ole Miss guy, the resident Ole Miss fan. Yeah, it's 18. I mean, Ole Miss. What was the score last year? Like 1,000,000 to 0. Did they even score last year? It was 42-0 last year. Ole Miss and Georgia Tech. So the over might be in trouble if Ole Miss plays that same caliber of defense against Georgia Tech. Tech has played better this year, I will say, against not great opponents, but they did hang in there with Louisville and they did cover against Louisville, I'm pretty sure. Um, so it's interesting. They scored 34 against Louisville and they scored 48 against South Carolina State. So it's really whether or not you think Ole Miss can stop them or not, because we know Ole Miss is going to score. Tulane had a good plan against Ole Miss. Got a lot of pressure on the quarterback. Their defense played well. Um, but, Georgia Tech, it's hard to bet on Georgia Tech at the vault. So line did start at 23.5, and Vegas has lowered it to 18. I guess that's part on Ole Miss's performance against Tulane, and then halfway probably because Georgia Tech looked pretty good against Louisville. So, but I see the over at 63.5 right now, Peyton. So 64 is pretty high, but you gotta guess Ole Miss is probably scoring 40 in that game, and it really depends, like I said, on whether or not you think Ole Miss is going to Ole Miss is gonna be able to stop Georgia Tech. I haven't really watched Georgia Tech because I just always think triple option. I know they're running the spread offense now, but every time I see Georgia Tech on my screen, I just go the other way. Great receivers have come out of Georgia Tech though, which is crazy. Calvin, Megatron, right, and was it Demarius Thomas or did he go to Clemson? I can't remember. Tyler says it's interesting that most people say Saban is past his prime or washed, but would love if they heard he was coming to their program. Yeah, I mean that's fair. I don't know how many people would just go crazy about having an older guy come into their program that's already well established at Bama. I feel like it would put so much expectations, but yeah, I mean you're right. Everyone would be pleased if Nick Saban was their coach. I mean, there's no doubt about that. I did see him on McAfee today on ESPN, and he's going to be on there every week. Is Saban getting soft with the media? A lot of people are asking. He was smiling after the loss against Texas last week. So a lot of people are asking if Saban's just getting a little soft, Tyler. I mean, I feel like that's fair. I feel like it's fair to ask. It's fair to ask if he is. On this game that we got on the screen here, Tennessee, Florida. I mean, just not seeing anything from Florida. The line seems really low, and Milton hasn't. They haven't really unleashed Milton yet. Um, and Florida just can't do anything on offense. They can't. Against Utah. Okay, we got a call. You're on Cashin. Who we got?
My name is Elijah. First time listener, first time caller. Calling from Fort Worth, Texas. Big Oklahoma fan.
Boomer.
Just want to throw out a lock of the week that I got here.
Let's go.
We got Western Michigan and Iowa. Is at 2:30 this weekend. The line right now is 28.5.
Give it to
I
me.
don't know if you know this, but I was I was OC in his contract right now. He has to average 25 points a game for him to
Yeah.
keep his job next year. They haven't scored 25 once yet, and the line is 28.5. I don't even think they get to 25. Um,
Hmm.
so yeah, I'm taking
Outstanding.
Western Michigan plus 28.5.
Elijah, we haven't met, but I'm right there with you. Um, minus 28.5 is nuts. And a little bit of foreshadowing to what we got going on later in the show. I do have Western Michigan, and I'm right there with you. Dabo, even one of the coolest thing Dabo has done in his recent history was to throw a little shade at the Iowa OC, saying his offense was being compared to him, which I thought was pretty funny because I feel like Iowa is just known to not be able to score points, and Vegas just keeps giving them these like 2, 3 touchdown lines against teams that, I mean, just go in and play a little bit of defense. Iowa can't score, so I like it.
Yeah, I think that the lines have gone up this year because they got McNamara from Michigan, but
Right.
it seems like they still can't do anything. So
Yeah.
I think 28.5 is way too much. Even though Western Michigan is awful, they lost I think 38-7 to Syracuse last week, but
Yeah.
or
Um,
48-7. Sorry.
Yeah, that's tough. That's tough. We don't have to talk about it though. Utah State didn't look too bad. I tuned into that game a little bit against Iowa. They were actually my underdog of the week against Iowa in week one, and I believe it was like 24-10 in that game. So I didn't sweat that one at all, and I will be getting to this game later on in the program. But yeah, Western Michigan plays hard. I know they don't do the like row the boat thing they used to do with PJ Fleck, but you know, they beat Stephen F. Austin 35-17. That's enough for me to know that I was not probably going to score 28 points against them. So, but I did see that their OC's contract, if he doesn't average 25 points a game, they fire him. What do you think
Yeah,
about that?
pretty great. Well, I mean it's justified. I mean their offense is notoriously bad. So I think that their over underline last year got somewhere down to like 30, which is just crazy for a college
Yeah, I
football
took
game.
that
So
one. I think it hit. It might have pushed. I think it was against Northwestern, maybe. But I bet every Iowa under last year, and it was outstanding. It was an outstanding run. I think they went over on a couple of games, but when in doubt, Iowa unders. And when you see any type of line on an Iowa game that has them favored by over 2 possessions, I would say it's if you don't take it and it loses, then or if you do take it, it loses, you still made the right decision. No one can fault you for taking 28.5 on an Iowa game.
I completely agree. I think the number's outrageous.
Who do the Sooners have this weekend? Tulsa, right?
Yeah. At Tulsa, I bet it's 75% of the stands is OU fans.
Are you scared of the what are they, the teal Titans? I don't know what they are.
Golden Wave, I think.
The Wave. Okay. Why are so many
Yeah,
teams the Wave? That's an interesting thing to me.
no idea. But Tulsa, their head coach was the OC at Oklahoma in
Hmm.
the late 2000s when we went to the national championship game in 2008 with Sam Bradford.
There's bad blood.
So yeah, well, not too much bad blood. I think the head coach at Tulsa, and Brent Venables are great friends. So it'll be
Oh,
interesting to see see what goes on there.
They know each other well. I like that. Interesting. What's the line? Do you know?
I have it here at 28.5. I think
Mm,
OU is going to cover that. I think our defense. I think our defense this year is way better. OU fans are panicking because we don't drive down the field and score every single
mm,
time, and so they think we're going to lose. Because if we didn't, when we had Lincoln Riley, if we didn't score every time we had the ball, it was a loss immediately.
right.
Um, so I think fans are kind of panicking, but defense looked good. I think that against an SMU team last week, they may win the American Conference.
Yeah, SMU looks
Um,
good. I think they have Southern Miss this weekend. I might be wrong.
I'm not sure who they have, but yeah, I like Oklahoma. 28.5 is a big number because our offense didn't really look very good this past week, but but yeah, I don't think this isn't our year, but next year I think it's a shame we're going to the SEC next year, but I think our team's gonna be better next year.
There's not a lot of losses on Oklahoma's schedule. I mean, you've got Texas. Who else? I mean, TCU, but they don't look great. So
Kansas is good this year. Don't be fooled by
yeah, they were
by
good
the name
last
on the
year.
jersey.
They were
They're pretty
good
good.
last
Yeah,
year. Mm-hmm.
yeah, they're gonna be good. Central Florida is going to be interesting because they have Gus Malzahn as their coach.
Oh yeah,
Uh,
forget
and
their
at
Big 12
Cincinnati is
now.
sneaky. At Cincinnati is sneaky too. I know nothing
Pull up
about
looks right
Cincinnati at
now.
all. They beat Pittsburgh last week though, so it'll be interesting.
Yeah, I've got Pitt. This well, I'm picking against Pitt, but yeah, Pitt's interesting this year. They're kind of a letdown, but good man. Hey, I saw Sam Bradford in the airport once after they got dog walked by. Was it? It was in the. They were in Atlanta. What game recently did Oklahoma lose? In Atlanta, like a New Year's Six game.
Oh, we got killed by Joe Burrow in
Yeah.
2019.
That was it.
Yeah,
He
yeah,
looked so sad. But he was a celebrity, you know. He won the Heisman, first overall pick.
yeah.
So when I saw him, I was like, man, that's Sam Bradford. But he was not taking picks or anything, to say the least.
Odd guy. He's kind of an odd guy. He
Yeah,
stays in the shadows. He doesn't come to games. Uh, he was a really smart guy at OU. Was in a business school, got like a finance degree and stuff, and then just disappeared. Nobody knows where he is anymore. So it's kind
he
of a
was in
bummer
the
because
Atlanta
he was
airport
the
New
guy
Year's
growing up.
Eve. That's all I can tell you about his
Yeah,
whereabouts.
I'm shocked he was there. I'm shocked to hear he was at that game because he doesn't come to any games.
Well, Elijah, thanks for calling in. Appreciate it. Call back.
Anytime.
All right, man. That was Elijah from Fort Worth. Good call. I like it. Not a lot of OU fans. So now that they're coming in the SEC, I guess we can hear from Elijah some more. As I'd say, we're probably got a SEC heavy audience in here. People are sounding off on this Florida Tennessee game still. Yeah, I like Tennessee to cover pretty easy in this one. I don't remember what the score was last year, but to me, this one's and there's a lot of don't overthink it games this week. I don't know about Oklahoma 28 and a half. Tulsa covered some games last year, and 28 and a half is a lot. The half is scary too. If it was like 27 and a half, I might sprinkle as Peyton sends one that's 27 and a half, South Carolina and Georgia. Um, South Carolina just didn't move the ball well against UNC, which UNC is not a great defense with Gus, not Gus, but Gene Chizik. I think that's his name. He's kind of irrelevant now, but he was on TV for years after coaching Auburn to the national championship. Really, just Cam Newton to the national championship. And they haven't looked good defensively. I love Drake May, though, as we know, as we've talked about on this pod. Um, but yeah, 27 and a half in a SEC game is always tempting, Peyton. But I stayed away from it. I thought about it though, and if I have a good start, I might get on. Is it the 2:30 game? Which does anyone else has anyone else noticed that CBS is doing Big Ten now? They're not doing the SEC 2:30 game. I that was lost on me. I didn't realize that was happening this year. I hate it. Even though I don't know. I don't like hearing the dun 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 and then seeing like Rutgers and Northwestern in a 7-0 game in the third quarter. I don't like that at all. Go ahead, Sam, with the next one. And this next one, it's it's hard for me to talk about. It's hard for me to talk about because I am biased. I am a homer in this regard. You see the hat on my head, um, and it's gonna be one of those games where it could go one of two ways. Um, it could be LSU just wiping the floor, finding their rhythm, and playing really, really well against us defensively. Or it could be State constantly keeping pressure on them in the run game, moving the ball down the field, and making stops defensively that keep us in the game the whole game. If we can control the clock a little bit, and I think our defense is going to play well against them. State has played a lot better in this game in recent years, aside from the Joe Burrow year where Joe Burrow got pantsed. I was there. I saw the ass crack of Joe Burrow live, which was fun. Um, and at home, I think 9.5 is a good number. State was -9 last week. Obviously, went to OT with Arizona. When you watch that game, Arizona's quarterback had a really weird style. I mean, he was just scrambling and chucking it down the field, and State did not have an answer at a lot of points during the game. So that was interesting to watch. If that happens again with Jaden Daniels, just slinging it all over State. It's going to be a long day. Um, but I do like the over. I like the over. It's either going to be a defensive stalemate or both teams are going to move the ball at will. Florida State was able to do a lot of really good things against LSU, um, but they have Coleman and the other cat at receiver. State does not have that. It'll be competitive for sure. The more I talk about it, the more I don't like the over. I don't think LSU moved the ball. The score shows that they dominated Grambling. Um, the score to the Grambling game shows that LSU probably dominated them, but offensively they weren't just dominant. So I've kind of flipped. I flipped live. I kind of like the under 54.5 because State is going to have to defensive game plan to win this. Like they're going to have to stop them on defense. Um, 9.5. Like and Peyton's making the point. 8.5 or 9 is more comfortable if you're betting on LSU here. Um, Taking all the homerism out of this, 9.5 at home for State. I believe it's under the lights, or it might be an 11 a.m. If it's an 11 a.m. kickoff, let me make sure. Yeah, 11 a.m. on ESPN. I like State. I like State, and I like the under now. I really want to go punch myself for taking the over on it because it's not. The more I talk about it, the more I hate the over. To be honest, so how long we been going? 42 minutes. Yeah, let's get to the picks for college. Because we're rambling here. LSU big. I think they try and send a message. Yeah, and like I said, it could go that way. LSU could dominate, but Starkville at home, 11 a.m. I see them coming out super slow, and you know, I think it could be a defensive stalemate type battle where yes, LSU might win by a touchdown, but two possessions is hard on the road in the SEC, no matter who you're playing besides Vandy probably. John, you asked about Kansas State. I got them at 3.5. Mizzou stinks. I had the Middle Tennessee line last week at 21. I believe Mizzou beat them by like 3. Kansas State is looking pretty good this year, and they're just a good program. Kansas State is just a really good program. Um, Again, let's just not overthink it this week. You know, Iowa State -3 against Ohio. Ohio stinks. They're in the MAC. Let's not overthink that game. Kansas State -3.5 against Mizzou. We know Kansas State is good. We know Mizzou is not good. Let's roll with Kansas State. And you see, I got Bama minus 33. This is murder ball week. Okay, this is murder ball week. Um, I can't even remember right now. I can't remember who they're playing. I didn't even care. USF. USF stinks. Yeah. Minus 33. I think 5 touchdowns will be scored by Bama in the first half. Um, yeah, I mean, they're back on track this week, in my opinion. I don't think it's a trap. Uh, they did minus 33 just to get people worried about it, but 40, 50, 63 to nothing. Bama this weekend. Uh, I don't see it any other way. Me and Elijah touched on it. Western Michigan is your lawn dogs of Brandon, underdog of the week. Let's go ahead and flash that, Sammy. Underdogs of the week are 3-0 so far in college football. I had Utah State week 1 against, or week 0, sorry, against, it is at USF, Jacob. I'm not worried about the atmosphere at USF for Bama, but I had, who did I have week 1? It was Utah State. Oh, Hawaii. We had Hawaii against Vanderbilt, Maui revenge game. Um, Hawaii came through. It was like plus 17 and a half. We had Utah State versus Iowa. It was like plus 21 and a half. Easy cover. Then last week I had Middle Tennessee State against Mizzou. I know I didn't do a show, but it counts. It counts. And then this week we got the Western Michigan Rumble Ponies. I don't know what they're some mascot. I don't know. Iowa plus 28 and a half. I mean, it's laughable that they keep giving Iowa those lines. If it loses, hand up. Sorry. But that's just a no-brainer to me. Iowa stinks on offense. They stink. It is weird that Bama is going to USF. Doesn't make a ton of sense. Um, but yeah, I don't know why they're doing that. I guess they just needed an away game. Who knows? They're probably still paying USF to put them on their schedule at home, but maybe it's free. Maybe that's why Bama did it. It's free to just go get a dub. But Tennessee minus 6.5, which we touched on, and then the backyard brawl. Uh, this game was wild last year. I think it was maybe the first game of the year last year on a Thursday night. Um, WVU versus Pitt. Pitt is an interesting team every year. They win games they're not supposed to. They lose games they're not supposed to. Kenny Two Gloves, obviously, um, had Pitt buzzing that one year, and they had I forget they didn't have JT Daniels last year. WVU had JT Daniels. That's right. I forget who their transfer was last year. It was the guy from USC, like Slovic or something like that. That's not who they have this year. But honestly, they renewed this rivalry, and I think it's just going to be the home team wins this rivalry. I think it's going to be pretty similar to, like an Egg Bowl or, which can't really say that for the Egg Bowl. I'm trying to think of other rivalry games that are like neck and neck like that. But this might be one of the better rivalries in college football right now that people aren't like really talking about. Minus 2.5 it might be a 1 point game. Um, and last year it came down to the wire. And, you know, I think WVU threw like a pick six to lose last year at Pitt. Um, and so um, I think the home team just wins this game. You can take the Western Michigan off. Big shout out to Lawn Dogs. Uh, Lawn Dogs of Brandon. Get the hedges hedged. Uh, you know, get the pine straw strawed at Lawn Dogs. 601 573 0117. Reach out to my boy Matt McCurley. You've seen him in the chat. He's the GOAT of lawn care. Let's roll into NFL. Now that we're almost an hour into this thing. Hey, like the video, subscribe to the channel, share with your friends. Let's keep this train rolling. We missed a week. We went dead week 2 with a dead computer. So we lost a little okay? We lost a little momentum, but we want to keep growing this thing, and I need people to call in. I don't know where all the call-ins are tonight. But if you're trying to call in to Cashin with Cam, number is 769-241-0777. The triple sevens. Matt McCurley checking in. Lawn Dogs of B Town. Hit them up. NFL. Let's roll right into it. Who had fun gambling on the NFL Week 1 schedule? That was brutal. That was a brutal Week 1. I went 1-3. Pretty much eliminated all my dubs for Saturday. I had the Bears, which was a laughing stock. Is Jordan Love good? Chime in. Do you think Jordan Love is the Aaron Rodgers replacement? It's hard to say. Had the Bills -2. We all saw how that game turned out. Had the Steelers, which I'm going back to the well this week. So that I don't know. I'm a glutton for punishment, I guess. Had the Steelers. They got dog walked by the 49ers. And who else did I have last week? I know it wasn't great. I did win. Like I said, I won one of them last week. Let's see. As Memphis is shitting the bed right now. That's good. I had the Saints money line, so they won by 1 point. So glad I didn't hit the spread on that one. The Titans looked atrocioso for sure. Tannehill might be. Tannehill might be bottom 5 quarterback. There's a lot of bad quarterbacks this year in the NFL. The quarterback position to me is at an all-time hiatus for like the best, group. You've got Mahomes, you've got Allen, you've got Burrow, you've got Hurts, you've got really good guys. But once you get past that top 5, that top 6 or 7, it's really just, who can manage the game better? That's NFL quarterbacks right now. Um, you know, we're gonna watch Kirk tonight, see what he can do in prime time, and we're gonna watch, Hurts do his thing probably. You're looking at two on your screen that are probably both in the top 10 right now. Obviously, Mahomes is number one, but I would say Trev's making a pretty good stake for being in that top 10 quarterback list. Alex says Josh Allen's no longer on the list. Yeah, it was tough looks against the Jets for him. 3 picks to the same guy. I might just not throw it his direction. Tannehill sucks or Saints degoated. Yeah, there's a chance of that, Jacob. We're just gonna have to see. But Tannehill sucks. He could make any defense look really good. And he's done that a lot in his career. So uh, it'll be interesting to see if they go to Levis. I don't think Levis is the answer. I don't think Malik is the answer. Uh, I would go Matt Corral before I went either of those two guys, honestly. And I think Corral is he's sad right now, so he doesn't want to play football. Um, Peyton, you can chime in. You're the Corral whisperer, but uh, in this game with the Chiefs and the Jags, Chiefs coming off a pretty tough loss on ring night against the Lions. The Lions just wanted to win that game more than the Chiefs, in my opinion. Obviously, a lot out of Mahomes' hands in that game. Tony with the two big drops, the one leading to the pick six, and then the one to stall the last drive of the game. Tough looks for what's his name? Is it Arius Tony? I'm I'm not it for that. Yeah, I'm not even gonna try it. Could what is it? Someone tell me how to pronounce this guy's name. Gaddy, you should know if you're in here. You're a Chiefs fan.
It's just Kadarius.
Kadarius Tony. Okay, I was getting my T and my D mixed up. You know what I'm saying? Thanks, Sarah. Man, nothing like a Stanley to keep you hydrated. Keeps it so cool, Just one of the best cups ever invented, must say. Um, yeah, Tony. Yeah, Matt, get you a Stanley, bro. Get you a Stanley, McCurley. It changes the water game. Um, Obviously Kelsey out. I need him so bad for my fantasy team. Um, so really hoping he comes back this week. I think that'll change the Chiefs' offense. Kader eat us. Thank you, Peyton. Appreciate that. Didn't answer my call. Alex called in, Sam. Sam was texting, so he didn't see you call in. All right. All right. If you're calling in, try to call again. My wife Stanley stays in my hands, TBH. Yep. Yeah, if you hate on a Stanley, just know if your wife were to purchase two Stanleys, you're going to utilize one of them. Okay, you're going to have that in your bag at all times, and you're going to carry it around. Um, God, it's so crisp, so crisp. Minus 3.5 for the Chiefs in this one. Obviously, Vegas assuming people are going to side with the Chiefs. Little revenge game for the Chiefs if Kelsey's back. A lot of factors. Chris Jones signed his 1 year deal. Um, you know, so I think people think the Chiefs will be back in this game. At the Jags, though, the Jags looked better and better last season. As we all know, they won the playoff game. And, you know, I think plus 3.5 is, I'm leaning towards the Jags. Um, I'm leaning towards the Jags at plus 3.5 at home. The over under is 51, and that's what I really like, though. I really like over 51 in this game. I think it's going to be a shootout. It's going to be one of those that we look back on. Trevy's going to get his little spot, in that top group of quarterbacks. Obviously, Mahomes is going to sling it all around the field. So it's going to be one of those games where we look back on the season and say, hey, that was a fun one. And if you don't root for points in this game, what are you doing? Don't watch football, because I want to see a 35-33 game, okay? 40-50, who knows? Peyton likes the Jags to cover 3.5. Chris Jones back, it helps. Yeah, Kelsey may be back, yeah. 3-point game, yeah. That's how I see it too, Peyton. Plus 3.5 at home for the Jags is what I would sprinkle. If I have a good Saturday, I'll probably hop on onward, Sam. I like Trevor. I like Trevor Lawrence. I hate to say it, but I like him. Little mobile, pretty accurate with the ball, arm strength. It's just the team's got to get there with him. They've got some good defensive pieces, and they've got a good coach. So I'll be interested to see what the Jags do this year. They're in a not so great division, so I could see them coming out with the division title there. Who did the Jags just lose to? Slow down on Trev. Did the Jags lose? You got to remember, I didn't watch last week. Okay, so I was in the not hotel, hospital. It was not a hotel. I'll tell you that. Jags are 1-0, Alex. Jags beat the Colts in Indy last week. Trev was 24 for 32, 241 yards, 2 tutties, and a pick. ETN averaged 4.3 on the ground, and Ridley went off 8 receptions, 11 targets, 100 receiving yards. Big time for Calvin, the gambler himself. Moving on, barely 10 points. Moving on to this game, not a good NFL slate either. If you look at the NFL games, there aren't a lot of games that just grab you this week and you just have to watch. This is Monday Night Football right here, and the over-under is 39, just a slobber knocker. Kenny Two Gloves versus the massage therapy man himself, Deshaun Watson. Hard to root for Deshaun. It truly is hard to root for that guy. He just seems like a sleaze, just a weirdo. But they are favored here, minus 2.5. And I'm ready to be hurt again by the Steelers. I've got them up plus 2.5 at home, Monday Night Football. And it's hard to bet on Deshaun Watson. It's hard to want to see him do well. I'll say it. It might be biased, but I'm not a Deshaun Watson fan, and I don't think I ever can be. I feel like that says more about me if I were to say I do like Deshaun Watson than it does anything else. So, I do like the Browns' new logo. It's an angry looking little dog right there. But do they have that dog in them? People are asking that. And Peyton likes the Browns. So our first disagreement tonight, Peyton. Um, yeah, the Steelers' offense looked terrible last week, but Tomlin's going to win 9 games, right? That's what I like, Elijah. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Tomlin, I believe in. I'm a Tomlin believer. I have been for years. Steelers are one of the few franchises that stick with a coach pretty much until they want to be done, as long as they have success, um, relative success, right? I don't think the Steelers are going to win the division or anything this year. Obviously, the Bengals are going to have to play a lot better than they did last week. And yes, Miles Garrett looked phenomenal in that game against Cincinnati. The crossover jab step into the center, straight into the quarterback was an elite move. Just standing up over him, showing him the move he was about to do. I saw JJ Watt break it down. He was like, he literally showed you what he was about to do, and he still couldn't stop it. So that's interesting. Yeah, it's going to be low scoring. If anything, you might take the under. But I'm on the Steelers plus 2.5. Like I said, I'm ready to be hurt again by the Steelers. I've already got it in my on my card. I've already put money on it, so you know it is what it is at this point. Um, onward, onward. Let's get to the end of these NFL picks. We're an hour in. Hey, thanks for watching. Thanks for tuning in. Shouts out to my daughter Palmer for popping into the show. Shouts to Sam for keeping it running this time. And I think we went pretty well here. A lot of comments. One call from Elijah. Elijah, thanks for calling in. I'll be pulling for your Sooners this weekend. I think Oklahoma might lose like 2 games this year. I mean, they got Texas, obviously, and you said they got, obviously, they have Oklahoma State and a couple other testies, I'm sure. But Jonathan asked about Premier League again. Premier League's hard to call, but we do. West Ham does play Man City this weekend. I would assume we're going to lose by 2 goals, but I'm more and more a believer in my Hammers here recently. I mean, we're top of the table for a reason, so I'm all in. I'll say that I'm all in. I'm not going to bet on them because I don't want to break my heart, but or my wallet. So I'm going to leave it at that. If you're a Premier League head, we can talk Premier League, but I know most people said it was a foreign language last time it was spoken about on here. So I got Philly minus 6.5 tonight. Chargers -3 against Tennessee. A tough loss against the Dolphins last week. Tua went off. Tyreek went off. What more can you say? Tennessee does not have the firepower offensively to compete with the Chargers like Miami does. -3 is safe. Pittsburgh plus 2.5, like we said, and Jets Cowboys under 38.5. 40-0 for the Cowboys. On that, was it? It was Monday night or Sunday night football. And the Giants looked abysmal. I mean, they looked really, really, really bad. But from the jump of that game was over. That game was over from the jump, and it's hard to know what to take away from that game. Dak did what he had to do to win. He didn't play well. He didn't play terribly. But it's hard to say that the Cowboys' offense is just unreal after that game. You can't really tell anything from that. And then obviously, RIP to RIP to Aaron Rodgers' ankle or Achilles. RIP to Aaron Rodgers' Achilles. What are you talking about, John? Is that UFC? I'm out on my fighting game. Kevin Holland. Yeah. This is a fight night, huh? Yeah, I don't watch fight nights, John. Or I do, but I don't bet on fight nights because I don't know most of the people. But I like Holland, yeah. He looks like a mean cat. For sure. Um I don't know if Mulvihill's in here, but he could give us some UFC insight. I've asked him to, but yeah, Jets Cowboys under 38 and a half. That's really low. Um, but you know, that's part of it. It's part of the fun. You just get to root against points. Yeah, let me just do my parlay for UFC Fight Night. Let's go with the champ on the women's side, Grasso. I like that name. Kevin Holland. Ooh, is that the young kid? Yeah, give me the young Mexican man, Raul Rosas Jr. I like that guy. I don't know this one. Let's keep the Mexican fighter going. It must be in Mexico, huh? A lot of Mexican fighters on the card. Let's go with Daniel Zellhuber. Fernando Padilla against a Canadian man. Lupi Godinez. I like Lupi. Uh, Josh Frimd. Edgar Chairez. All right. It's enough of me trying to pronounce UFC fighters' names. Always the weirdest names, UFC fighters. It's hard to keep up. That Sugar Sean fight was lit, though. Let me say that. That fight was lit. Other than that, I guess since you rejected Alex's call, we didn't get another call. Sam Bone. It's a shame. Boudreaux Guidry did not join. I guess he's scared of Mississippi State. Let me email Boudreaux since we don't have a full line of communication. See where he's at. He might have unalived himself after that FSU loss. I mean, that was embarrassing. Game of the week, national TV, all eyes on them on a Sunday, and they just that was brutal. Brian Kelly just looked awful on that sideline. Maybe Boudreaux's just lost in the bayou somewhere. He doesn't know what to do with himself. So we'll see if State beats them this weekend. We might not ever hear from Boudreaux again, if I had to guess. He's definitely not feeling himself like he once was. I did not lay the 18 with Ole Miss, Peyton. 18. I think they will cover, but I personally don't want to bet on that. I don't want to bet on 18 with Ole Miss. You're asking, did I parlay LSU minus 9.5 Ole Miss 18? Nah. It very well might hit, though. It very well might hit. Jacob says Boudreaux's probably out on the fan boat. Yeah, probably so. Probably just trying to occupy his time since his season's over. Once State beats them this weekend, that's the end of Boudreaux Guidry and LSU. Maybe if he's watching a little smack talk, he'll get him in here. Who knows? Arkansas plus 8.5 against BYU. Yeah, I looked at that. I don't know anything about BYU, but I do love my boy KJ. And I just like watching KJ play, so I always root for them against bad teams because KJ can usually just light those bad teams up. And if BYU is bad, I definitely might take a look. I might take a look, Elijah. Plus 8.5 is interesting line. Is it at BYU or Arkansas? Might have to sprinkle. Let's see. Throw out your lock of the week, whoever's left. We're an hour in. Appreciate you guys staying in here. Jay Green is silent, McCurley. That's a good point. It's a very good point. Miami's beating the brakes off of Bethune-Cookman right now. Miami looks pretty good. Got that transfer. I think he went to Kentucky. Can't remember his name. Van Dyke or something like that. Might be totally wrong. UNC versus Minnesota is intriguing. Drake May is a dog. Minnesota is not very good offensively. Minus 7.5 though is a sucker bet in my opinion. If it was 6.5, I would go. UAB also is interesting to me, although I don't know enough about Is it South Al? No, it's Lafayette. Yeah, Arkansas's at home at -8.5. So that might be worth it. It might be worth getting in on, to be honest. Everyone send your locks before we exit here. Aham, you got a lock for the NFL this week. Peyton, you've been are you saying Ole Miss is a lock at -18, Peyton? That's scary. But they might be just gearing up after that Tulane, not embarrassment, but people were definitely down on Ole Miss last week. I think it's just offensive line. It's like what are they going to do in the SEC with that offensive line? It's going to have to be similar to what we saw from Colorado. Just a lot of quick hitters. The zone run game. Obviously, if you can break a few runs, that's going to be your best shot. But obviously, Ole Miss is going to be good offensively. And we'll see what the defense does this weekend. But oh, it was a joke. Okay, so no lock for Ole Miss. I see your confidence now, Peyton. All right, we're an hour in. Hey, comment. You all commented, so appreciate that. Call in next week. We got to get some calls back in here. That was part of the fun the past couple weeks. And hey, subscribe to the channel. And we'll see you next week. I'm glad to be back. Sam's back. My baby's crying, so I'm going to go get a little change in, get my stats up. I've changed her probably 20 times already today. So, big time stuff. We'll holler at you next week. Thanks for tuning in.